Well, hello, and welcome everyone to day number 3 of week 2. Today is going to be an interesting day because it is going to be once again Team Fellowship versus Team Holy, and there is a lot on the line for these two teams. If we look at these scores of the team standings at the start of day 3 here, it is that the Fellowship is currently in the lead. However, as you can see, Team Mderg, who is currently in Group B of this week, is catching up on them, slowly and steadily. So the Fellowship is really looking for a victory here, no matter if it is going to be a clean sweep or not. Joshers is having a lot of pressure on his back. And with that said, there is also a lot of pressure for our team captain Holy on the other side of this group. Because if you look at the scores of Team Holy, they are in a solid 3rd place. With Team Bro League being 5 points behind, they don't have really that much to worry about on becoming 4th place just yet. However, Team Mderg and the Fellowship are starting to get away, so Team Holy needs to have a few good matches in order to get back into the competition and fight for the title spot of the standings. Having that said though, it is time to get into game number 1 and see who will take the early lead. And the first game is going to be played on Acadia. And on the top left-hand side on Acadia, spawning with the red pieces, it is going to be Holy. Which means that on the bottom right-hand side of the map, spawning with the blue pieces, it is going to be Joshers. Now, we've seen a lot of matchups so far. And we've seen so far that the Fellowship, of course, has gotten quite a substantial lead, at least early in the first week. But we've also seen that they can definitely be beaten. So, with Holy needing to get themselves back into the race, which also has a lot of pressure, as you can see both of these players going for a Rex opening, with Joshers placing the building in the main base and Holy going for the wall off at the natural here. But yeah, Holy needs to get his team back into the race. The previous game of this group was a victory for Team Holy with a 2-1. So maybe the tides are turning into their favor now. But Joshers himself is a pretty good player as well. He's definitely not going to give this victory away for free. Having that said though, I assume that both of these players are going to start with a Raider, and yes, they do. So it's a pretty basic start. However, Joshers is getting himself an additional worker, which is interesting to see. Which I assume means that Holy might be going for a little bit of an earlier natural expansion. Now, as we know, the early game of Littlewargame is nice and slow, gives everybody a lot of time to think about what their plan is going to be. Obviously, these two players have practiced. They have played games before, of course, in week 1, but they might have also practiced each other before. Definitely some information has been going around. And not necessarily a stern meta to be started or to be thought of, but it seems like Beast is still a decent start in the early game to at least get the map advantage and get your pressure onto the map, try and contain the opponent a little bit. Over here though, Joshers will only now see the first Raider of Holy will probably think about where the other raider is going to be. This fight so far seems pretty even, but it is going to be caught by another raider, and it does manage to be taken down. Holy, very nice play so far, catching Joshers off guard there. So with a raider loss here, it is going to be a bit of a tougher early game for Joshers. Both of the players are going for a natural base, with Holy being 5 seconds ahead, so his income will be a little bit behind once that kicks in. But with the additional 2 workers of Joshers, he might actually be in the advantageous position here, no matter what. Workers are strong when it comes to the defense, however... Ooh, that one was just in time to finish that castle. No delay just yet, but it is on very low health, so it can be taken down very quickly if Joshers once again is caught slacking a little bit. Holy started to make a little bit of a transition into the archers already, just like Joshers once he got his second raider back up and running. He is, of course, 1 unit behind as he lost the raider before. It's so far losing the 110 gold of the raider. Not the best position for Joshers to be in, but once again his economy is a little bit better, so he's not that far behind after all. Holy is moving his army off to this central position up north, trying to maybe flank Joshers if he does want to go for an attack, but all of his units are still on his own side of the field. Getting himself a second Rex, so he's going to try and get a little bit more of a production boost here, as Holy instead is going for a 3rd base. So the early income deficit is hopefully, in Holy's eyes, going to be turned around quite quickly, as he will obviously, once that castle is finished as well, be able to create 3 workers at a time, which... when it comes to wanting to build up an economy, is obviously a great thing. Joshers, not going for that 3rd base, is going for not necessarily a 2 base all-in, but getting a 2 Rex on 2 bases can definitely be supported, but I would like to see him, as he's probably going to save up a little bit now. Would love to see him get a 3rd himself as well. Raiders, 1 of each, go into the other opponent's naturals, or at least try to get into it. Joshers, will he actually be able to see the archers here? Yes, he will. And the raiders, seems like either it is going to flash away and stay alive, as it is now, will scout the 3rd base and sees that it is already finished. So Joshers, as he was trying to get himself a 3rd over there as well, which is going to be denied, at least for a second, by the raider, does manage to take down the workers, so the 3rd is definitely going to be even more delayed. Another worker has been pulled to go and construct the 3rd base, but a raider on the other base position as well is going to contain Joshers for a little bit. So when it comes to the economy now, as the 3rd base has been finished and workers have been produced, is back into the favor of Holy here. Holy, however, does need to go and defend this push. It is not that much of a push, but obviously raiders, when they do get close to the archers here, do have quite some damage to do. There is no army from Holy here. It is all at his natural base. Will just now run in, but one of these archers is going to be picked off completely for free. It's not the best engagement for a Holy here. He went for the early economy, but is it going to be a bad mistake? There are no watchtowers either, so with the lack of army here and also the lack of watchtowers, he needs to pull some workers, and he did have an economic lead when it came to the bases, but he does not have an economic lead when it comes to the total amount of workers, so a little bit of micro from Joshers here is going to be able to get a lot of these workers on low health, and one catapult shot, if Joshers does go ahead and get himself a workshop and maybe do a catapult drop, one shot will kill most of these workers now, as they will not regenerate any health whatsoever. So that is going to be a relatively short-term future risk for our player in the red. Definitely needs to pay attention to not let those die. Another worker has been picked off at the third. An easy pick-off for Joshers, who himself now has finished a third base as well. His army is going to retreat. Raider is still at the fourth location right now, which is not going to be used for quite some time, I assume. Joshers getting himself 2 additional barracks. So he's definitely going to focus more on some army production. Holy, however, did get himself a workshop, and the first catapult has been obtained. It can definitely be a great addition to this army, trying to deal some damage to Joshers here, as archers are not the fastest moving units. But if he can just walk in to the catapult, or maybe catch it off guard here, it is going to be a heavy blow for Holy to once again take. The army once again going to the same location over here. Not entirely sure why he keeps sending his army over here. Probably because he wants to try and cut off the army here and maybe have some kind of angle when it comes to a possible surround. But so far, it has not really done him too many favors just yet. We see Joshers not yet going for any type of workshop here. As I did hear some fighting, if my mouse would just not zoom in instead of just moving around, but okay. But I assume that the raider has died from Holy, trying to get some scouting information and maybe deal some damage to the workers. Nothing happened just yet. But over here, Josh is going to try and once again run into the army of Holy, and he will. Holy does have some soldiers, will have himself a front line, and a pretty tanky one at that. Is that front line going to be enough? So far, it seems like it. Holy has a pretty decent concave here. Joshers, not that much he can do. A friendly fire shot from the catapult definitely helps Joshers out here, getting rid of the soldier front line of Holy, who himself is getting 2 more barracks. But as you saw, Joshers constructing more and more barracks over here, has 6 in total. 3 in his main, 2 at the natural, and 1 at the third. Also constructing an advanced workshop here. Not entirely sure why he is going for the advanced workshop, probably because we've seen some catapults and would probably expect some catapult drops. But I would love to see some catapults from himself, some nice archer micro trying to run away from the catapult shots. Not going to happen over there. Nice concave from Joshers. Is he going to try and redirect some of the catapult shots up north? Yes, he does, so nothing gets slain on the bottom right hand side here. Does manage to deal quite some damage. 5 or 6 soldiers at a time are going to be popping out, so if he can add those to the front line over here, it's going to be an amazing position to be in. A nice shot from the catapults being taken by Joshers, but once again a shot at his own soldier over here is going to force Holy to move away. A lot of his archers are on a very low health, so Holy here is definitely on the back foot. Holy does not have the production, but he does have quite some money, so it is going to be interesting to see where that is going to be locked into, because 550 gold is definitely a lot of cash to be sitting on. He definitely wants to either get more production, get another base, or get himself obviously some houses, as he is supply blocked at the moment. Maybe get himself some more catapults as well, maybe, because he was at 600 gold. Might want to get himself some upgrades, but he is now getting himself a house. 2 forges are going to be created for Joshers, so with the army advantage that he has, with the relatively similar income, he has 700 gold ahead here. is definitely going to try and upgrade his soldiers. The soldiers are just going to run straight into the army here, are going to surround all of the catapults, nowhere that they can go. Holy's archers are still on very low health, and this is just going to be an overrun situation over here. It's 16 soldiers and 13 archers versus 8 archers, 3 soldiers and 3 catapults. It's definitely not going to be enough for Holy. It seems like he's going to be pushed back quite easily. No fourth is going to be in production from a player in the red, so there's nothing really to fall back on. The production facilities themselves are not in the numbers that he would like. 1-1 is on the way for a player in the blue, and he might soon also start to get maybe a fourth on the back of this, because he is definitely in a great position when it comes to the map control. Also getting himself an airship, probably going to load in some army to either drop into the bases where there are still no watchtowers whatsoever, or he's just going to drop them onto the catapults, but so far there's only one catapult, nothing for him to care about too much. He's just going to drop some army into the gold mines, and it is going to be in the main base, trying to keep Holy busy all this time. Holy not moving his workers in the main. Soldiers definitely going to be distracted a little bit, but these houses on the right hand side are going to be completely destroyed. There is a bird on the way, which will only see how screwed Holy is at this point. Upgrades have not yet finished, so Joshers definitely needs to do this with a little bit more of a nice move from his army. It is not as efficient though, trying to hold off the army from Holy down below. It could be a nice move if these archers can actually take down some of these buildings, but they are not focusing down a singular building here, so not that much damage actually being dealt here. In the meantime, there is a lot of army being constructed by Joshers back home. 1-1 is almost going to be finished. And as Holy is pushing back, they will finally be able to take down some houses. Holy is going to be heavily supply blocked here, 94 out of 80. It's not really good to see. With that supply block, no more units are going to be constructed. Some catapults here are going to be completed. Nothing that he can really do. Definitely leaned in the advanced workshop to take down this airship. However, it is empty. Nothing he can do for some reason. Just trying to charge it down. Even though these catapults cannot really do too much against these soldiers. The army of Joshers up north is still just kiting away, but in the meantime a new force is ready to go. More and more production still on the way for a boy in the blue. 2-2 is going to be started as well. 6 more soldiers at a time going to be made. Another 2 airships have been produced. It's definitely going to be in his favor if he actually manages to get those airships in and drop all over the place. This airship though is in very low health. I would love to see him just dropping out the soldiers, and there he goes, handing them to the army on the bottom, because this airship is definitely going to go down. Holy knows that he is in a very tough position, only has 500 gold of an income. He is 2,000 gold mined behind and 1,300 behind when it comes to his efficiency. 2 airships have once again been filled with all of the soldiers. These are just all going to run into the army and going to go down completely, but all of the soldiers are going to be dropped straight into the catapults. Are they going to manage to surround them? So far it doesn't seem like it. A lot of these shots are going to deal a lot of damage to the army over here. Everything is clumped up and is going to be taken down relatively easy by all of these soldiers. In the meantime though, the armies that were ready to pounce are running into all of Holy's bases. The third is going to be taken down. All of the workers here are going to be pushed back, and every building over here is surrounded. This attack is not going to do anything. The fort base has been completed, and when it comes to the income, it is 1,400 gold versus 400, and there's absolutely nothing for Holy here. There's almost no production, at least nothing to push this army back. This can deal quite some damage, but it is going to be locked up completely, as there is once again some more army going in here to try and surround it. All of these workers are going to try and pierce the army here by the mineral walk. Just selecting all of the workers, clicking on the gold mine, and try and surround the army from the inside. The catapult is going to go down. All of these archers are going to go down as well, and in the meantime the second base is also going to be destroyed, and Holy has nothing remaining and does eventually GG out. So with that 1-0 lead for Joshers, that means that Holy is falling further and further behind with his team. However, we are not there yet. It's only one game out of a possible 3, and Galaba, who had played the previous game, managed to get a 2-1 victory versus Bisherm, and Holy is definitely not one of the lower brackets. So let's find out and see if he can do a reverse sweep on Joshers, or if Team The Fellowship is once again going to continue their advantage. And game number 2 is going to be played on Silent Fjord. With on the bottom right hand side, with the red pieces, it is going to be Holy. Which means that on the top right hand side, with the blue pieces on this beautiful map, it is going to be Joshers. Joshers seems like he is going to try and get himself some speedy advantages, going for the house right next to the gold mine, where Holy again is going for the wall-off strategy. Now, we've seen some interesting games on this map before. We've seen some pushes, we've seen some watchtower backed pushes as well, we've seen some surrounds. We have seen plenty of different strategies here. I'm going to be curious to see what they are going to cook up right now. With Joshers going for back-to-back barracks, well, Holy is going to try and switch it up and is going to start with a 2-den opening. Holy here is definitely going to try and get himself some early map pressure, maybe get some ability to push Joshers into his own corner of the map and contain him, or maybe even go for a heavier push style and try to just overrun Joshers as quickly as possible. We're going to see what his plans are. Of course, the first wolf has been started, as the first raider has been started as well for Joshers. So far, it's all a pretty standard opening. And with the second den finishing right now, just 2 seconds behind the first wolf finishing. If he's going to start up the third here, yes, these will almost back up his first wolf at the exact same time. There is only a 1.5 second difference between the two, so a pretty decent timing. Where the first raider of Joshers has been run out, and Holy once again going for a little bit more of a diagonal path. It looked like he's going to miss this raider over here. It's a pretty decent move. I feel like Joshers, however, is going to immediately see that it is going to be a 2-den opening, because usually halfway across the map you do not find 2 wolves, and as he has already seen the wolf over here, it's definitely a confirmation that there is a little bit of a shenaniganry going on. No base is being constructed, no additional workers are being constructed, it's just wolves, wolves, wolves. And 3 wolves are definitely not going to win versus 2 raiders, so with the 7 wolves being produced so far, and an 8th one on the way, it is going to look like a big pressure from a boy in the red. Probably wants to try and contain Joshers a little bit over here. He is pulling 4 workers, he definitely knows that this is coming. However, does he know that it is coming enough? Because at this moment in time, Holy is saving up some money. He is not supply blocked, so he's choosing to save the money, so I assume that he's going to create a secondary base, and you can see it pop up in the production tab there. Very nicely done. 1 wolf is going to be taken down though. These raiders definitely want to continue to attacking these, as they do regenerate health just like these wolves. is not going to be the best position to be in, as Holy is being pushed back. It's not really what we like to see. Very nice to see though from Joshers that he is continuously going to produce raiders, not going to switch into soldiers, not going to switch into archers, but just sticking to raiders, which deal plenty of damage to wolves. Because as you can see, they deal 30 damage per attack and an additional 14 versus biological, so that is 44 damage per hit. So 4 hits on a wolf can kill it, depending on how fast it generates, of course. But it is interesting to see what will happen here. No wolves are being pulled from Holy to keep an eye on a possible third base. So far, there's definitely a large economic lead for Joshers. Obviously, partially because of the transfer of the workers, but I assume since he is almost 4 workers ahead, that there is still a sizable advantage for a player in the blue. However, is this going to be enough though? There are a total of 10 wolves versus 4 raiders, which should be in the favor of the raiders. But if these wolves get some kind of surround, that is not the greatest position for Joshers to be in. One wolf definitely going to want to pull that back. Flash has been used by 2 of the raiders, so it's definitely limiting the abilities for Joshers a little bit. A 5th raider is going to enter the fray. It's not the best of positions to be in. Wolves with low health are going to trade positions with each other, which is very nice from Holy here. And in the meantime, we can see that Joshers is going to get himself a 3rd base as well, trying to continue the economic lead, as he himself is also getting an additional barracks over here. But this is going to be interesting. One of these raiders almost going down, does manage to flash away. The soldier is definitely going to soak up a lot of this damage. Not a great position for Holy to be in, but the first snakes do enter this battle, which is a great addition for a player in the red, because he will now get some ranged DPS, and the DPS of snakes, even though per hit it is not going to be that much, as it's only 7 damage per hit, where wolves deal 10, the attack speed is insanely fast. So once Holy here gets some more snakes in, as he's getting an additional wolf den, it is definitely going to be a more and more tricky situation for Joshers over here. So let's see if this is going to help him out quite a bit. I want to have Holy keep on this pressure. Of course, some of his wolves are on very low health, but these raiders are also very low. They can be taken out pretty quickly. Of course, having these raiders deal some solid damage to the wolves will immediately cut down on the DPS from Holy. But I feel like these snakes can definitely target some of the units here if they do get managed properly. Workers deal quite some damage. That is obviously not what Holy wants, but this is a lot of lost mining time here, which definitely helps Holy here. The 3rd base of Joshers has been scouted. We'll see that there is only 1 worker at the moment. Is he going to be able to snipe this worker? I think he might be able to, but is he going to be surrounded? It doesn't seem like it. Definitely going to try and attack the 3rd base here, but is it actually going to work? So far, it doesn't look like it. Holy, however, did manage to get a 4th den up and running, so his production as the beast player here will definitely ramp up quite a bit. Joshers did get himself a 3rd Rex, but is that going to be enough? Doesn't really have a front line when it comes to the amount of soldiers. Once again, these raiders are very low on health. This one raider is just on 13 health, so 2 hits and it will go down. Is it going to be enough though? Workers once again being pulled is going to be a decently nice surround, but these workers are going to be taken down relatively quickly. Not what Joshers here wants to see. More units enter the natural here. There is no watchtower for Joshers to aid in the defense. The raiders are not really being targeted, as they do deal quite some damage. They will eventually go down though, and this is just going to be too much for Joshers to handle. The units from the Rex are not going to be enough in this position. There is also an open area over here, which is just an ability for Holy to run in even quicker, or even more quickly as he wants to. He can just chase the wolves that way. so it is not the bestest position from Josh's. Does manage to make him run in one by one, but however, he is just going to run in. Archers are going to try and target down some of these units, do not target well enough. I feel like slowly but steadily Holy here is just going to take down Josh's. Another worker is going to go down. 14 workers have been lost in total. And with the income situation having a 50% increase for a player in red over here, will slowly pull him ahead. He is also 1,000 gold ahead when it comes to the efficiency. These snakes with the attack speed are definitely a huge addition for a player in the red. Archers are going to pop out, but is it actually going to do anything? No, because they are going to be taken out by all of these snakes. Nothing the archers can do, nothing Joshers can do. And with a very convincing push in the early game, Holy manages to bring it back into a 1-1 situation. So with that equalizer, it is once again all for the taking. Holy, with a great push, putting Joshers onto his toes. It's definitely not going to be as easy as he might have thought it would have been. But is it going to be enough to complete the reverse sweep, or is it once again going to be a tic-tac-toe kind of situation, taking one game at a time, where Joshers now is going to secure the victory for Team the Fellowship? Let's find that out in game number 3. And with that game number 3, it seems like this map is going to be used, or has been used so far, more often than not, to decide some of these series, as we are once again finding ourselves on the map Ravaged. Within the top left-hand side, with the red pieces, it is Holy. He's trying to get himself a victory, and this feels bad, or it might have been at the previous third game that they tried, but Holy's saying that this feels a lot better. Curious to see. Yeah, Holy was definitely a player with the lag, so some issues might have been fixed since the last game that they played. But on the bottom right hand side, on Ravaged with the blue pieces, playing with less lag this time, just like our opponent on the top left, it is Joshers. Now, Joshers once again going with the Rex opening, Holy once again going with the Rex opening as well. So it is going to be Rex versus Rex. We've seen this in the first game and it went into the favor of Joshers here. So if history repeats itself, we can already conclude that this is going to be a victory for the Fellowship. But we're not even close to the end of this game yet. The first barracks has just been over halfway to completion. So still a long way to go and a lot of strategies to go as well to decide who the winner will be of this matchup. Having that said though, once again, Holy decides to cut worker production at 10 workers. And, which is a very interesting switch, is going to start production with archers. Now, I haven't seen this that often, but I'm pretty sure that that means that Holy is definitely going to try and be a little bit more on the defensive side, as archers are not a very healthy unit and they don't have any armor, so they die relatively quickly, as Joshers is getting himself some raiders. Curious to see how this is going to end up. Holy did send a worker out relatively quickly, going for a fast natural. If I do remember correctly, archers are definitely easier to cheaper to produce, I should say. As a raider, I believe, is like 110 gold or something, and archers, I believe, are 80. So that is a 30 gold advantage for Holy per archer, so that is 60, getting himself a very early natural base. But I really hope for him that he is going to be able to defend from this raider. Archers, very nice, are going to wrap around on this worker, trying to keep the raider for actually attacking it. This worker, however, is getting into the fray as well. And this raider with only 50 health remaining is definitely not what Joshers wanted to achieve. Third archer has been produced, fourth one is on the way. Workers still on full health as the natural base is almost completed. Natural base from Joshers is obviously lagging a bit behind as he did go for more raiders, but he now himself is also getting himself some archers. These are not in a great position though. Is he going to be able to take down one of the raiders though? That would actually be huge. So far it doesn't seem like it. More hits are going to be done to this raider, but will leave the natural base position in order to slowly go and heal. While the archers from Holy are not going to be able to do so. This is definitely in a way a victory for Joshers here once again. Does have to be careful with the raiders here. The health regenerates very, very slowly. Yeah, once again, the archers are cheaper. He is getting himself a second barracks as well. Going to get some more and more production on the way, where Joshers is thinking the exact same thing. Raiders trying to once again go ahead and find an opening, maybe flash in, take down an archer or two, flash out. Maybe they are going to be able to do it. If Holy is going to be able to target one of the raiders here, he might be able to take it out. Maybe he's going to try and take down this archer. It's not going to be enough though. Once again, this raider is just leaving the base on a slither of health. Very nice engagement from Holy here. Nothing that Joshers has been doing has been working out so far. Holy does scout that the third is just open and free. Nothing there for him to protect. Joshers doesn't know that there is a second Rex, but obviously by the amount... Oh, okay. I was about to say by the amount of archers, you might know that there is a second Rex. At this point, the two raiders are once again going to try and go around, but this is going to be interesting because these workers, they are going to get themselves some towers built by the natural base of Joshers. I cannot see anything else that Holy is planning to do here. However, in the meantime, these raiders over here are going to try and take down some of the workers here. Will be pushed back so far. Nothing has been seen in the eyes of our player in the blue though. Is he going to run in too far? Yes, he's just going to run in all the way. Getting himself a workshop. Not actually starting anything with the workers here. Why did you pull your workers if you didn't immediately start a watchtower? I actually have no clue what you're doing here, Holy. Because this is not a great position to be in. If he was constructed a watchtower over here, he would have definitely fortified his position and just taken down everything over here. Raiders coming from the back will definitely take down this army. There's an army advantage for a player in the blue now. Two more archers are going to be taken down. It's just so easy for him. Raiders on the other side of the field will just go ahead and attack these. Will flash in and actually take down both of these archers, I assume. And they also have a faster walking speed as well, so this is going to be a very easy catch-up game for a player in the blue. And yeah, there's not even close to being enough army here for Holy. Some more enforcements coming from Joshers. Obviously Holy does have the advantage of being the defender, but his front line with the one soldier is very easily going to be taken down, and the entire pressure that Holy could have had by constructing a watchtower is now back into Josh's favor, as he is once again been pushing Holy back into his natural base. Holy is going to try and figure out to see if he can find a raider here. Does manage to see one, but is he going to be able to flash out just in time? No, he is not. Does not manage to take down a soldier either. But he will now know that there is very likely going to be a third base being constructed here. Did pull a worker with the gold piece. Not the most efficient, but also not the most painful, at least as long as it doesn't get taken down. But yeah, it is not really looking good. The economy is pretty close. It's 400 gold in the favor of Joshers, 200 gold when it comes to the efficiency by the amount lost, and also 200 being in the total amount of gold mined. So far, so good. Joshers himself also getting a third base. They are pretty equal when it comes to the time of being constructed. Josh is just going to keep an eye on the potential fourth base locations with an archer on one and a raider ready to pounce on the other. Is it going to be a close fight though? Holy is going for the armory. I assume that he's going to construct the armory to get himself ranged, or the archer range upgrade. So they might be a little bit more safer in the background. However, if we look at the army of Joshers, getting himself quite a few archers, and at the same time also getting himself some catapults. Definitely a great addition to his army here. It is going to be interesting to see. So far, I think I will definitely prefer the army of Joshers, even though Holy does have quite the front line, who is not actually standing for a part of it at the actual front line. But the two catapults here can definitely help in the damage output from a player in the blue. Is it going to be enough? Archer ranged is indeed being started, but it is 1.5 minutes away from actually being completed, and it looks like Joshers is going to try and attack sooner than that. So is Holy actually going to be able to take an advantage of that upgrade? It doesn't really seem like it. Also, if we look at the fact that he is making units, but also partially soldiers, there's actually not that many archers to even take advantage of the ranged upgrades in the first place. Some nice guiding here will it will deal a chunk of damage to the front line here. Joshers does move his soldier back to not let it go down. Does eventually manage to hit his own soldier though, but it was a very nice hit on the 3 soldiers of Holy here. Watchtower does get delayed for a little bit, but this is what Holy wanted to do. He needed to get himself a watchtower to secure his position. This soldier is going to be taken down. An archer runs into the barrage of the catapults, and with 3 catapults over here, it is definitely not going to be easy for Holy. It is not a place where you want to run into. Holy is getting himself a mage guild. Trying to get himself some mages, but it's not going to be enough. It's too little too late. Holy does not want to succumb to the siege, and GG's out before Joshers cements his position, which means that Joshers was able to take the victory to Team the Fellowship, getting a nice 2-in-1 score back on the board. Earlier in the week, it looked like with the victory of Glaba that it might be a little bit more of a momentum shift into Team Holy's favor, but Joshers said, no way, Jose, it is ours for the taking. And with that score, it is Team Holy that does manage to take 1 map, so it does get a point, being even more 3rd place than they were before. And the Fellowship getting 2 additional maps and getting 2 points here as well. Once again, they do manage to get the victory, so they do get the 2 points. But if Team Mdirk is going to be able to clean sweep their game, then they are going to be at 14 maps and 18 points. And then it's only a single map victory away from being tied 1st place. But that is going to be for the next game. This one has come to an end, so I would like to thank you all for watching this cast. If you did like it, of course, feel free to like the video and let me know in the comments down below. Or visit littlewargame.com and let us know in the lobby chat there, or maybe join the Discord. And if you do not want to miss anything, And if you do not want to miss any of the coverage of Pro League 6, of course feel free to hit the subscribe button as well, and do not forget to check out any of the other content creators of Littlewargame either, because there are a lot of point of views and a lot of great information to sift through, and it is all very nice to watch. And I'm going to leave you with all of that information. So I will hopefully see you guys soon again in the next game of Group B. And until then, have a great day, my dudes.